Okay, welcome everyone. Good morning or evening, whenever you're listening to this. My name is Emily for anyone who is new. And we're just going to start by settling down into the space where you're sitting or laying and just making yourself as comfortable as you can. And we're going to put some worries in the giant worry bowl. So if you like, you can join me in placing your hands across your chest and beginning that gentle bilateral tapping, sending through that calming signal. Maybe just taking a nice big inhale in through the nose, breathing into your belly. And a big sigh, letting go of that air. And just taking a few deep breaths in your own rhythm, your own pace. And just bringing to mind the things that you would like to put in the worry bowl. Anything that you don't want to carry with you into this hour that we have together. So you might like to pick one big thing or maybe a few little things. It might be something causing you stress, something causing you anger, whatever it might be. See if you'd like to express it from your mind and body now. You can do this verbally. You could do it through sound. You could imagine it coming out. Or maybe just continuing to take those nice deep breaths and sighing out these things. And if you are taking those nice deep breaths, then perhaps you can use each exhale as an invitation to let go of a little tension in the body. So maybe on the next exhale, just focusing your attention on your legs and just releasing the tension there, letting go, relaxing your legs, your knees, your feet, your ankles. And the next exhale, just moving up in the body, letting go of any tension in your lower back and in your hips. Just focusing on relaxing your body in that area, letting go of the tension, letting go of the stress, letting go of anything that you need to let go of in this moment. And then the next breath, just moving a little further up the body and focusing on relaxing and releasing tension in your upper back, in your chest, in your neck and shoulders. And then focusing on the next exhale, using it as an invitation to let go of any tension in your arms, your hands, your elbows. And the next exhale, just focusing on relaxing any tension in your face, in your neck, in your shoulders. And if you have anything else to add to the worry bowl, you can do so now. And we'll go ahead and pop it out of sight, out of mind for this time that we have together. And now let's give our subconscious mind permission to let go as well. You can repeat after me, stating out loud, I give my subconscious mind permission to release my worries and fears now. And now that you've given your subconscious mind permission to let go, let's really shake and shift what it was holding. So placing your hands out in front of you, imagine that whatever it was holding on to, whether you can name it or not, place it now in your hands and see if you can imagine how it would feel, that weight of it, temperature even, texture of it. And it might be that there was something sort of feeling stuck in a part of your body. Maybe your heart feels heavy. So just take that energy, place it in your hands and imagine how it feels. And once you get a sense of it, I want you to clamp down on your hands, take it out to the sides or up overhead. Take a deep breath wherever you get to. I'm going to throw it at the ground, let it go and say shoo, and just feel it shift out your fingertips. And we're going to do it again, just imagining the weight and the temperature and the texture of that energy, whatever your subconscious mind was holding on to, and then taking it out or up, deep breath, shoo, throw it away. And one more time, really consciously this time, grabbing that energy, taking it around or up, deep breath, throw it away, and give yourself a shake off. Now, if you have the energy, I invite you to stand up, really jump about and shift it, just shake it all out. But if you're low on energy, then just a gentle shifting, shaking of the wrists is fine. Maybe you want to do a bit of a swing with your arms and just shift anything that your body was holding on to, maybe bringing your legs into it as well. And we'll shift it a little more with our tapping. So just bringing your hands slightly cupped down to your lower belly, and we'll tap our way over our body. And if you get to anywhere that still feels a little stuck, a little tense, tight, whatever it feels a little off, you might want to linger there, maybe tapping a little harder. And now, of course, if tapping is too much for you, you can do a brushing motion over the exact same areas that I'm moving over. But if you're able to, the tapping is great to shift that energy quickly. And big round of applause for us all for being here. Big happy seals. And tapping your way back up the outside of your arm. And coming up to give yourself a big pat on the back for being here in this moment, doing these practices. And we'll tap our way or brush down this other arm. All the way down, building up some more happy seal, happy walrus energy for the middle. Look as ridiculous as you can. And tapping your way back up all the way, and another big pat on the back. And we'll bring our attention to our face, gentle raindrops down the center, and another row slightly further out, and another one again on the edge of your face. And then just bringing some gentle fists onto the top of your head. We're going to tap our way down and around to the back of the neck. Now, if this is too much, just run your fingers through your hair instead, but if you can, doing the tapping. And another row just above the ears and around to the back of your neck. And then finding your kidneys, giving yourself a pat on the lower back before I tap our way down. And onto the bottom of your feet, the top of your feet. And coming back up the inside of your legs. And resting your hands back on your belly. We're going to close our eyes down for a moment and just take a few deep breaths. And as you do, just have a little check-in with yourself about how you're feeling in this moment. Noticing whatever you're choosing to notice. Noticing what might be coming up for you in your emotions. Noticing what might be settling for you in that same space. Noticing maybe the sensations in your body. Noticing the types of thoughts that move through your mind. Where are they trying to direct your attention to? And just noticing the pace at which they're coming and going. Whether you're able to detach a little from those thoughts. Just noticing how it truly feels to be you in your body in this moment. And when you feel ready, I invite you to just relax your arms by your side. And you can keep your eyes closed if you like, or you can open them up. And we're just going to begin a gentle sway of our spine. We're just really going to slowly start waking our body up with a gentle sway from side to side. And it might get a little wider each time, maybe slower. Just going at your own pace with the exploration of this movement. And you might like to take that same movement forward and backwards. And just imagine your spine moving vertebrae by vertebrae. Nice and slow. You might like to move your shoulders around and just start some free-flowing exploration with your midsection. Just taking it wherever you'd like to take it. Bringing your arms into it if that feels good for you. You might like to isolate movement in one area of the body and hold the rest still, or you might like to have that constant movement throughout your entire body. I'd invite you to just really tune in to the sensations that you're creating through this movement. So just noticing the parts of you that have to work harder to hold you in different places, and which parts let go to allow for that movement. And don't be worried about what it looks like, just really tuning in to your own exploration of yourself. And of course, you're welcome to stand up and explore some movement in your legs, or perhaps just bring some movement into them from your seated position. And if you like, you can add to this practice and do some humming, so stimulating that vagus nerve of yours, massaging it from the inside, going and gathering up a nice big breath of air, and hum. Now, if the free-flowing movement is good for you, if that's what you're needing, then continue on with that, and also continue on with the humming for as long as you like. But if you'd like, you can also join me in some self-massage, connecting in with our body in a different way, waking up parts of ourselves as we give each part a little bit of love and attention. So just bringing your hands to begin with to your neck and shoulders, and just exploring any movement in your neck that needs to happen to wake it up. So it might be just shifting it from side to side, or maybe taking it in big circles, doing those half moons or full moons. Just exploring where it would like to go as you massage into any tense areas that you can find here. Just noticing where you're storing tension. I know for me, this is definitely my place. I store it all up in here, these muscles, and all the way up into the base of my head. And so if you're the same, just exploring those areas, but if there's somewhere else that you hold tension, you might like to go there and give that some love. And if you're ready to move on, you might like to take that attention of yours down one of your arms and just pinching along that outside of the skin, noticing how your skin moves under your hand, or if you're in a cold climate, maybe how your jumper moves over your skin. Just really tuning into the sensations, noticing if there's any tense areas, any extra tension that you've not been aware of for a little while. And just massaging over your thumb. Maybe you'd like to just pull down over it and then use the twisting motion with two of the knuckles of the other hand, twisting down each digit. However you'd like to explore the surface of your hand, go ahead and do that. And just notice what feels good for you. If it doesn't feel good, you can move on, focus on a different area of the body. But you might be noticing that as you move over these parts, there's other parts of your body that start to come to life a little bit, start to tingle. You start to be a bit more aware of. And massaging into the palm of your hand. And maybe exploring into this webbed part, just pressing in there. Noticing the pain that arises, but noticing what might shift and change in other parts of your body as you press onto that acupressure point. And when you're ready to move on, just going over to the other arm and doing the same thing. Noticing if this arm feels much the same or if it feels different. Maybe you've got some tension on one side more than the other, if it's your predominant hand. Maybe you've been holding a device in some way, got that RSI of messaging people, or doing whatever it is that you do on your phone. Maybe you've been flipping the bird too much. And if you notice that your mind starts to wander away from these sensations in this present moment, know that it's okay, you're only human. But just notice where it wanders to. Where does your mind like to go when it's trying to disconnect? Does it go to the past? Does it go to the future? And again, you might like to play around with that acupressure point in that webbed part of the other hand. And just relaxing, letting go. You might like to get some movement back in your hands, maybe placing them together, doing some groovy disco moves in the middle. Sorry, I'm a bit weird in the mornings. Well, I'm a bit weird all the time, but weirder in the mornings. So let's give our upper body a little break and bring our feet together to meet in the middle if you can. We're going to stretch out our hips. So if you can, just holding onto your ankles, stretching up nice and tall. You might just like to stay here for a few deep breaths, or you might like to lean into that stretch and just feel that opening there in your hips. Maybe you even want to walk yourself forward. And for anyone who's practicing from a seat, just recreating that by opening your legs out into a nice wide stance and leaning forward from your core, from your center. Just feeling that opening happening there for yourself. Just making sure though that you are stable on your seat. And just breathing into anything that comes up. And you might even like to return to that pendulum practice that we did in one of the sessions recently. Just taking your attention to an area that is a little bit uncomfortable in the body and just holding your attention there. Just really noticing that, bringing your awareness to it, acknowledging it. And then just taking your attention off of that and finding part of your body where there's a pleasant sensation or where there's more of a neutral sensation, where there's nothing painful or pleasant, it just is. And just holding your attention there for a while And then swinging back when you feel called, just finding an area of discomfort and just being with that for a moment. No judgment, just noticing. And if you need to shift your body in some way, maybe you need to take the stretch to a next level of intensity, or maybe you need to back it off a little bit and move your feet out so it's not such an intense stretch, and just stick with that pendulum practice, just finding that part of you of discomfort. And then finding that part of pleasantness or neutrality. And if you like, you can stick with that pendulum practice, but bring some movement into it. So bring one of your feet in, we'll take the other one out to the side. Bring your hands up overhead, take a deep breath here. And then we're going to lean out towards that leg just as far as you can. And don't worry if your leg's not straight and you can't reach your toes. If it looks like this, that's perfectly fine. And just breathe into that stretch. And of course, if you're seated, just recreating a seated version of it. So stretching your leg out and leaning down towards it. And again, as you breathe into that stretch, breathing through whatever comes up for you, you might like to place your focus on those areas of discomfort. And then switching to those areas where there is more comfort, more ease. And just noticing that you're able to do that. You're able to place your focus on different parts. And after a few deep breaths, so whenever your body is telling you it's had enough, just bring yourself back to center and take it out to the other side, maybe reaching up overhead before. Take that deep breath and then reach out. Pat your plant if you have one nearby. Maybe you've got a dog that you're patting instead. Whatever you can pat, just pat the thing. And again, once you've felt those signals from your body to come back up to center, just bringing your body back. And we'll put our feet out in front of us, leaning back onto your hands. We're just going to drop our knees to one side for a moment, just holding there for a breath. And then switching it over to the other side and holding there for a nice big breath. And then moving through that transition at your own pace. So you get to decide how fast you would like to go. And of course, if you're in a chair, you can be doing the same motion, just a little different, so dropping one leg at a time. Making sure, of course, that you're nice and stable in your seat. And you get to choose the pace at which you go as well. Now just getting that rotation happening in the hip. We store a lot of tension and trauma there. So we'll just release what comes up for us. Knowing that it's okay if you get a bit emotional when you do these hip opening exercises. I don't know if you can hear my hips clicking. Body clicking away in the morning. And when you feel ready, you can just come back to a seated position. And we're just going to explore a little bit of strengthening and movement in our midsection once again. So we're going to do some cat-cows, but you can do them either seated, if you like, or you can get onto your hands and knees. So if you're seated, just pushing your belly out and bringing your shoulders back, your head up towards the sky. And then rolling it over, curling those shoulders over, tucking the head in. And for anyone who is on their hands and knees, of course, just moving through those same positions. And just going at your own pace once again. So you might like to hold each one for a few breaths, or you might like to move with your breath. I invite you to explore some additional movement. So you might like to shift your hips from side to side, or in a figure eight, or in a big circle. However you might feel called to move your hips, just see where they'd like to go. Or maybe you're dropping one shoulder at a time, maybe moving into one position, just shifting one shoulder forward, one shoulder back, then transitioning into the other. And again, just shifting your shoulders up and down. And of course you can explore some movement in the same way from your seated position. So just shifting your shoulders forward and back. And again, just doing the same thing, just exploring that movement. Now, if you're up on your hands and knees and you're finding that your wrists are getting sore, then you might just like to widen your knees out and sit back onto your heels and just go into a resting pose, just giving your wrists a break. And then once you feel ready, just bring yourself back up onto hands and knees. We're going to bring one of our knees forward between our hands and just drop that back leg behind, really stretch it out and just hold yourself stable in that position for a moment. I'll show you a chair variation in a second, but we're just going to, if you can, lift your hands up over your head, take a deep breath, and then bring them around in front. Create a nice little pillow for your head and rest it down onto that pillow. And just take a few deep breaths, resting here in stillness, or maybe shifting your hips from side to side, whichever you prefer. And for anyone who is seated, we are just going to cross a leg over. Now it's up to you if you want to have it nice and tightly crossed or if you want to leave it open or somewhere in between. But just reaching your hands up, deep breath. And then fold your body forward. Maybe you go a little way, maybe you fold the whole way over. It's totally up to you. And as you rest in these positions again, you might like to return to that pendulum practice, placing your focus on the discomfort in areas and then shifting to those places of comfort, or places where there's a neutral feeling. And then just tuning into those signals of your body when it's had enough. So bringing it out of that position and taking the other side or the other knee up between your hands, stabilizing yourself for a moment. And then reaching up if you're able, nice deep breath. And creating another pillow for you. And again, see if you'd like to move your hips from side to side, or maybe just resting in stillness here. And again, once you're ready, just bring yourself back up out of that position. If you like, you can go back into that nice hip opener rest, bringing your buttocks back onto your heels. And if you are seated, then you might just like to create a nice opener for your hips, for your groin, and just lean in. Maybe if you've got a range of motion that allows you, you could place your hands on the ground. But just leaning into that space is great. And when you feel ready, just coming back up to a seated position and switching it over so that you're lengthways on the mat. And we're just going to lower ourselves down while we strengthen our core. So just slowly going into that boat pose, lifting your feet up if you can and pedaling through. And just slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, lowering yourself down onto the mat. And for anyone who's seated, then just creating that same strength in your core by leaning yourself back and engaging the front of your stomach. And just holding there. And then once you feel the heat and shakiness, you might like to transition forward and lean your body forward with your arms up and just feel your muscles engage on the other side of your core. And for anyone who is now on their mat, just lifting your buttocks up and just holding there, feeling the strength building in your back. And of course, you might like to try the harder variation, putting your feet together and then raising them up. You might like to do a few of each, so just giving yourself pause to rest in the middle and then raising your buttocks up, just strengthening your core each time you do. And for anyone who's in the chair, just transitioning between those two movements that engage the front and the back of your core. And then when you're ready, just stretching yourself out lengthways. If you need to grab a cushion for your head, go ahead. If you need anything else, blankets or supports, go and grab them. If you'd like to stay seated, but you want to add a little bit of extra comfort to your position, you might like to just grab hold of a cushion. We're just going to have a moment of stillness and do a guided visualization that's going to help us process some of the grief and loss that can come from having chronic illness or just from facing challenges in life that can really affect us. Okay, so just settling yourself into the space where you're resting a little more comfortably. You might like to continue a bit of a check-in on your body as you take a few deep breaths. Perhaps you'd like to start at your feet, noticing how they feel when you're still. Maybe noticing how they feel against whatever surface is beneath you. And you might choose to move from there, scanning upwards, noticing the sensations through the rest of your legs. Perhaps pausing for a moment to check in with how it feels in your hips. Maybe you're aware of some more tension releasing here. And perhaps with each exhale, you're able to relax this area a little more. And you might be choosing to bring your attention to your stomach, noticing the internal sensations here. Maybe noticing that as you breathe, your belly moves. And perhaps your attention follows the rest of those bodily movements that coincide with your breathing. Maybe you're noticing how your ribs and chest move as you circulate that air through your airways. And maybe you're choosing to tune into the rhythm that your heart has set for this moment in time. Your unique rhythm, that constant, steady beat in the background of the song and dance of your life. And you might be feeling called to bring your attention up to your neck. Maybe you're able to relax your throat a little more with each exhale. Perhaps also allowing a softening of your jaw. And perhaps you're able to allow a softening of all of your facial muscles. Whilst at the same time, you might be able to feel the worrisome energy shift out of your brow, letting that worry simply fall off your face. And in a similar way, perhaps you're able to let go of the thoughts that are whirling around in your mind, recognizing that here in this moment, there is no need to hold on to them. Here in this moment, what's actually needed is for those thoughts to float on out of your mind, simply letting each one go. And you might notice how, as you relax even deeper now into your body, each breath allows for even more of those thoughts to become freed from your mind. Noticing how each exhale is an invitation for your body to let go of a little more tension. And perhaps your own body is inviting you to settle even deeper now into the experience of relaxation, knowing that there is no right way and there is no wrong way to relax. There is just your way. And as you relax in your own way, only as comfortably and deeply as you choose, you might decide to give yourself the luxury of full comfort, knowing that in this moment, there's no need to change anything. You can simply be, just noticing how it feels to be here now, letting your body settle and your mind soften like leaves falling gently onto a quiet forest floor. And as you continue to breathe, I wonder if you might allow yourself to drift into a memory, a time when you felt connected and whole, a moment when things seemed to flow easily. Perhaps it was a time before this illness or before any challenges that you've had, when everything seemed within your reach. And as you recall this memory, you might notice how your body feels and the way your mind responds. Perhaps a sense of nostalgia arises, or maybe even a sense of loss. And that's okay, because today we're here to gently explore that, to honor those parts of yourself that you may have lost through illness or challenge. You see, life is like a vast, ever-changing landscape, and sometimes the terrain is smooth and easy to navigate, and sometimes we find ourselves on rocky paths that we didn't choose, but here we are, walking them anyway. And perhaps you've noticed that during these more difficult times, it can feel like the world is in control, like you're being led by circumstances rather than by your own inner wisdom. And maybe there are parts of you that you feel have been taken by your illness or your experiences. Pieces of yourself that once felt strong and capable and vibrant. And it's okay to feel that loss. It's okay to grieve those parts of yourself that feel far away right now. But I wonder if you can imagine that those parts of yourself are not truly gone. Perhaps they've simply changed form. Like a tree in winter that appears barren, but still holds the potential for new growth beneath the surface. And as you think about those parts of yourself that you feel you might have lost, I invite you to consider that they are still within you, waiting quietly for the right time to re-emerge. They may not look exactly the same when they do, but their essence, their strength, and their beauty remains. Now imagine for a moment that you are standing at a crossroads. In one direction lies the path where external forces of illness and circumstances seem to guide your steps. But in the other direction, there is a path where your own inner strength, your own choices lead the way. And as you stand there facing this crossroads, you're able to realize that you have the power to choose. You may not be able to change every circumstance, but you can choose how you respond. You can choose how you care for yourself, and you can choose how you honor your needs. And with each choice, you are able to reclaim a little more of your own power and your own control. And as you focus in on your breath for a moment, I want to remind you that you are exceptional. Not because of what has happened to you, but because of how you accept yourself in every stage of this journey. You see, exceptional people accept, encourage, and are kind to themselves. They know that healing is not always about fixing, but about honoring, about nurturing the parts of themselves that need care and attention. So as you continue to breathe, allow yourself to feel a deep sense of compassion for all that you've been through and all that you are becoming. For you are not defined by your illness or your challenges, but you can be defined by the way you choose to embrace your own journey, by reclaiming your power from within. And perhaps you'd like to allow yourself in this peaceful, quiet moment to simply be, to breathe in that strengthened understanding of your own power to choose, and exhale out that old feeling of powerlessness. You might like to breathe in empowerment and exhale out that old heavy sensation of powerlessness. Knowing that while the whole world around you may shift and change, your inner world is yours to nurture, to guide, and to strengthen. And now, having allowed this sense of empowerment to flow through your body, you might be starting to notice the sensations that are happening deep within your body. Or perhaps you're choosing to focus on the sensations on the surface of your being. Wherever you're choosing to place your focus, allow yourself to fully tune in there and notice what's happening for you. What's rising up? What's settling? And perhaps as you start to gently reawaken your body, you're able to notice a feeling of lightness in areas. Or perhaps you're feeling heavier all over, maybe feeling more grounded and aware of the weight of your limbs. Perhaps you're noticing that you're bringing back with you a sense of clarity, a more peaceful mind. Whatever you're noticing within and around you, See if you can simply witness it without any judgment. Simply letting everything be exactly as it is, and allowing yourself to be exactly who you are and exactly where you are in your life. And if you're laying down, I invite you to just bring your knees into your chest for a nice self-hug, creating a little ball for yourself, and just gently rocking your body from side to side, massaging your back on the floor. And for anyone who is seated during this practice, then you're welcome to either just fold yourself forward over your body, creating a little ball hug here. Or perhaps you'd prefer to lift one of your legs up to your chest at a time. Just sort of nurturing yourself through this hug. And then when you're ready, just letting your feet come down onto the mat, bringing them together to meet in the middle, and letting your knees fall out either side, your arms bringing them up to either side as well, creating a nice big opening in the core of you. And just breathing nice and deep into your belly, breathing in through the nose. And big sighs, letting go. And for anyone who is practicing from their chair, then just recreating that opening in your hips. Maybe you'd like to bring your hands up as well, create that opening in your chest. And just breathe nice and deep into the core of you. Maybe just resting your hands down on your knees. And still just bringing that breath right into your belly. And again, you might like to return to that pendulum practice, knowing that you have the power to choose where you place your focus, both in your body and in your mind. And so you can place your focus on the things that actually serve you and that help you move forward in your day. When you feel ready, you can stretch out your legs just lengthways and place your hands by your side, either palms up for receiving or palms down for grounding, whichever you need more of today. And if you're seated, just making yourself comfortable in your seat. We're going to do our tense and release exercise, just beginning with a body scan once again, closing your eyes down and scanning from the bottom of your feet all the way to the top of your head. Just noticing where you might still be storing a bit of tension. We're going to go through and tense and then release for each area. So we're going to move from the bottom of our feet upwards. So with each inhale, just tensing the area that I say, holding the tension, holding your breath, and then letting go when you're ready. So you can follow along with me or hold for less or more time. It's totally up to you. And taking a nice big inhale now and focusing on your feet and ankles. And the next inhale, we're going to focus from ankles to knees. And next, we're going to focus from knees to buttocks, tightening up your thighs. And next, focusing on your stomach and lower back, deep breath. Next, we're focusing on our chest and upper back. Deep breath in. Next, we're going to focus on our neck and shoulders. Deep breath in. Next, we're focusing on our arms, both sides from fingertips to shoulders. Deep breath in. And next, we're going to focus on our face and our head. Deep breath in. Relaxing, letting go. And we'll do one final one. It's up to you where you want to place your focus. Maybe you do a whole body tense and release, or pick a few places. Deep breath in now. And just relaxing, letting go of all of that tension. And you might just like to be in stillness for a moment, taking another few deep breaths, allowing for your body to relax even further. And when you feel ready, I invite you to just roll yourself over to one side and press yourself up off the mat. And just make any adjustments that you need to make in your body as you return to this upright position. Maybe a roll of the shoulders or shrug. Maybe you need some water. We're just gonna connect in with our face a little bit with a gentle face massage to finish up. Just pulling any lingering worry out of our expression. And pinching your eyebrow when you get there, just shifting that worry right off your face. And then once you reach the edge of your eyebrow, just exploring the softness of your eyelid. And moving slightly further up, imagining that you're painting a rainbow up your face, pressing firmer on your eyebrows, noticing the texture of your hair as you paint whatever color you're up to in your rainbow. And once you reach your hairline, just bringing your attention down to your temples, massaging in little circles here. And then bringing your attention down, finding that joint in your jaw, letting your mouth fall softly open, allowing you to massage into those tight, tender areas here. And just giving your cheeks a smush. Maybe circle, maybe forward and back, up and down, whichever way you'd like to do it. And then just moving to explore any other parts of your face that you haven't yet applied some pressure to. Moving along that jawline, all the way over to your ears, and exploring all of those nooks and crannies of your ears. Maybe in behind and in front. And massaging down either side of your neck, massaging that vagus nerve. And perhaps from here, just taking it back around behind your head, following your hairline, at the back of your neck and up into your hair, just massaging the surface of your skull, feeling those tingling sensations wherever you feel them. Adding some volume to your hairdo, to any bed hair. We can all look like we're from the 80s and 90s with the big do. Nostalgia. And when you feel ready to move on, I invite you to join me in opening up your lymphatic system. So just rubbing back and forth with finger above your collarbone and a few below, just massaging in either side about 10 times and then tapping on that area. And then the other side. And then coming up to just underneath your jawline. Might feel tender if you've got swollen, glands? My brain has not woken up yet. And then just tapping on that same area. And then the other side. And then just bringing those gentle fists back to the center of your chest in a downward motion. We're going to move back and forth. And then either tapping or beating on your chest like a gorilla. Oh. It's going to be a great day. And then just massaging underneath your underarm. And then punching into that crevice there. And the other side. And just underneath your breasts or pecs, just alternating that top hand back and forth. And all-time favorite, the one that looks so sus, getting into that crease in your groin in a down and out motion with your thumbs. And tapping. And finding underneath your knees for the last one. And just coming back to a seated position. We'll continue our tapping with the chi slapping, moving our life force energy through our body. So beginning on the lower belly, tapping your way all the way up onto your chest. And of course you can be doing the brushing version if you need something a little gentler. Just moving over these parts and coming down the middle of your arm, building up that ridiculous happy seal energy. Round of applause, we're almost at the end. Woo! And tapping your way back up to give yourself a big pat on the back for doing these practices. And tapping your way over this side. Don't worry, you've got another chance to beat that happy seal energy this time round. And tapping your way all the way back up. Another big pat on the back for pushing through whatever it is, whatever internal blocks and barriers you might have that you've pushed through to be here. And just calming it all down, softening that expression on your face as the gentle raindrops fall down your face. And gentle fists over the top of your head and down to the back of your neck. Another row. And then a third one just above the ears and down and around. And then we'll find our kidneys. Give yourself a pat on the back and down the sides of your legs. Coming back up the inside. And just resting your hands back on your belly once again, taking a few deep breaths here with your eyes closed down. Just having another little check-in with how it feels on the other side of doing these practices together. Noticing what you've been able to create for yourself, the peace and calm that might be settling in you. Noticing that buzzing sensation, perhaps, that life force energy of yours flowing freely. Maybe noticing the types of thoughts and the pace at which they're moving through your mind now compared to the beginning. Just really noticing what might have changed and what's still the same in you. And I invite you to bring one hand on to your diaphragm and one onto your chest. We're going to finish up our session with 3 voos, just sending through that final signal to our nervous system that we are in rest and digest. We are safe, we can heal. So when you're ready, just taking a nice big inhale. Voo. And again. Voo. And that does bring us to the end of our session. I want to thank you for showing up for yourself, for being part of this healing community, and for doing the work to help yourself to heal, to be able to live your life in better health and vitality. For those who are watching this recording, there will be a donate link in the comments that you can find if you wish to make a donation, but by all means you don't need to. But I am grateful if you can and if you do. So thank you. I'll see you next time. I'll just end the recording now.